want to get into the artwork of an artist that revolutionized art, revolutionized technology, and single-handedly brought art and music and all kinds of things like this together in a great fusion. And that's an artist by the name of June Paik. June Paik was born on July the 20th, 1932, living in Korea. Now, he was alive during what was called the Korean conflict, or the Korean War, more respectfully. And during that war, there was a lot of issues with his parents, right? So his dad was a textile worker. He basically took fabric and dyed fabric and wove those together to make pictures and whatnot. So his father very much came from an art background. Well, during this war, his family needed to get the heck out of town. So what does he do? What do you do when you're a Korean living in this time and you got to get out of town? Well, what they did, he was college age, so they went to Japan. And there at Japan, he ended up entering the University of Tokyo and studying art and music at the University of Tokyo. 1956 rolls around, and he decides that he's going to move on to Germany. In Germany, he would study music and eventually start to get into music composition. There's this kind of weird neo-dada group called the Fluxus, right? Now, they're doing all this kind of really weird, bizarre stuff at this time. Well, the Fluxus decide that they're going to kind of take this new guy, June Paik, under their wing and give him pretty much all this great knowledge. And he takes it, absorbs it. He's working with John Cage, Yoko Ono. He's working with Joseph Beuys, just to name a few of these guys that are very independent. They're working, they're doing their thing, but they're kind of on the fringe. They're working in a very unprofessional, untraditional way and becoming the leaders of what would become this new eruption of art fusion. June Paik basically wants to take the art world and the music world and sandwich them all together, making this great new thing emerge. And that's really his end goal. And he was very successful in the long run at doing that. So, gets out of college, goes back to Japan, hangs out there for a while, doing his thing, and he gets really interested in televisions and TV and technology from a video perspective. So he's in Japan and he's working on these videos and working on monitors and all kinds of different things from a technology side. Around 1963, he starts playing with this idea of magnets and these magnetic fields inside the computer screens, right? So how do you get the computer screen to kind of go and do different wild things? Well, he figured out this way to do it. So he becomes an intern for a famous television station in Boston, WGBH, which is the public television station. They make This Old House. Anyway, well, at least that's the only show that I watch they make, but I'm sure they make others, but whatever. Whatever, WGBH, but anyway. So he gets a job as an intern there, and he starts messing around with these components, these electrical things, right? So these electromagnets that he's messing with, him and this other person, Shaya Abe, I believe is the name or the pronunciation, but so they start kind of working together to make this synthesizer, right? And it's still being used today. It's called the Paik Abe synthesizer. What this basically does is it allows for a camera to shoot a video, but then put something else on it. So, like for example, I'm using Mac technology here, so I can take a video, put a sticker across the bottom, put text across it. It doesn't mess with the video at all. It just kind of, it's a way to manipulate the screen in a live sort of way. Now, How is this practical from a big time television studio perspective? Well, you want to put a message board at the bottom of your screen. This is the way to do it. So if your school has to cancel because of snow, for example, here in Iowa, that happens all the time. So the news, they put the little, your school does not have school today. Thank you, June Paik, for your invention, because now you don't have to go to school. Now, I'm sure that's just one of the many applications that this synthesizer is capable of doing. I mean, I don't know. I'm not that tech savvy. But what I do know is he was given credit in the 1970s for the invention of video art. I mean, he's the guy. He built it. So in his art world, he starts thinking about Eastern culture. He starts thinking about religion. He's thinking about all these different things going on in his head. And as he's traveled around the world, going from an Eastern background and an Eastern upbringing, moving to Europe, then moving to the United States, he's continuously thinking about how the world thinks about information and how different cultures think about things differently and how our religions influence our day-to-day lives. And he starts making a lot of art that's really focused on these ideas. Probably one of the best examples of this is called TV Buddha. And Buddha is in reflection. He's sitting, he's reflective, and he's thinking about himself. He's being reflective. He's thinking about his choices and his actions and how that shapes the world around him. So the Buddha statue is sitting, looking at himself. And as he's looking at himself, there's a closed-circuit video screen. And as long as the power's on, Buddha is going to continue to reflect. So I'm going to show you a couple of pieces that are more of his video paintings. He wanted to call these moving paintings with sound. And that's exactly what they are. This one is a series of two pieces that go together to make one piece. The two pieces are called Megatron Matrix. It's the size of a billboard and has 215 separate video screens that all come together to make one artwork. So this first piece called Megatron Matrix, what he does is he uses video from the Seoul Korean Olympics as well as Korean folk rituals and modern dance and puts them together into these video clips with all kinds of audio that go along with it and animations and all kinds of different things that are happening throughout this piece. Megatron primarily speaks to the fact that in our world today, we're focusing on this rich media. Matrix really focuses in on the fact that in the world today, we are constantly being bombarded with information. We're being bombarded with a cultural identity. We're being bombarded with all kinds of pieces of information that are supposed to impact us from all around the world. This is just a very quick sampling of the life and the work of the great June Paik. He was very much a revolutionary and an innovator in the way of video art. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much for your continued support. This has been Art 101 with the one and only Mr. Mike Burgher.